What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Dillard, bringing you guys back another podcast. This is the Barnyard podcast number 32. I'm here with my co-host John yet again, just like back at it, just like we were yesterday. We don't have too much to talk about. I might say that, and this podcast might end up going on longer than I expected it to. But realistically, out of all the games that were played today, there were 4 games played today. We'll obviously talk about the series versus, the Yankees and the Indians. But then we also kind of talk about the Astros, Twins, White Sox, and Athletics, and Blue Jays, and the Rays. And, I'm going to be completely honest with you. Outside of the Yankee game, I might be a little biased, but there just didn't seem to be a lot of exciting moments today, except maybe, the only thing that I thought was, really eye-popping was that, Lucas Giolito came out and pitched 7 innings, only gave up 2 hits, 1 earned run, struck out 8. I mean, he was fantastic today. So that's about the only exciting thing. So the White Sox ended up taking the first game from the Athletics 4-1. I ended up saying this on the last podcast. You remember this, John, that I think one of the big things that's really going to hurt the Athletics is not having Matt Chapman. I think he's a very important piece, not just defensively, but offensively. I like his bat, too. I will actually go out on the record and say I think he's a better offensive contributor in the last 3 years, basically since his debut, than Nolan Arenado is. And that's partially because of the home-road splits. The home-road splits are very brutal with Arenado, or because the home splits, he's just like Babe Ruth in the flesh. Road splits, he's like Chris Carter. I mean, it's just a night and day difference. And then Chapman, he's much better on the road than Arenado
At least Chris Carter every once in a while ran into one of them.
That's just the comparison I get on the top of it.
Home runs with Houston, okay? He did pretty well. That's like Todd Frazier.
Okay, that's the best comparison I can come up with on the spot, so we're going with it. But you get my point. I do think Chapman is definitely a key contributor to this team, and that's going to kill them. It's going to hurt them a lot more than people realize. Obviously, athletic fans know that, but a lot of people might not understand just how underrated Matt Chapman is. I still think he's extremely underrated. I don't think he gets talked about enough. Everybody always talks about Nolan Arenado, and while Nolan Arenado is great, Nolan Arenado's also got those rough home run splits. He's really good at cores, but not so much on the road. So, anyways, going kind of on a random tangent, but just in general, the only thing that I really thought was exciting was, Giolito came out swinging, and obviously when I mean swinging, pitching well, pitched very, very well. Can't ask really much better from him. Tim Anderson, 3 hits. You had, Jose.
Of course, now he gets all the hits.
You had Jose Abreu, who had 2 hits with 2 RBIs.
Yeah, he had a good game.
I mean, Abreu killing it. Grandal actually had a home run.
How many pass balls did Grandal have?
I'm not too sure, to be honest with you. I mean,
that's at least one.
Probably not, I imagine, because he's a good defensive catcher.
I think I know why it was so boring for you. I think I know why it was so boring. Because there was absolutely no drama, and all the games were decided early except for the Twins game, and there was no upsets. I mean, the Twins game was the only upset. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
The Yankee game went exactly as scheduled. The Rays game went exactly as scheduled. I mean, when you're pitching Blake Snell, coming off an 18 Cy Young, and then you have the Jays are starting an opener against the team that started the opener. That's predictable results.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought the White Sox game was predictable results too. I mean, Giolito's a monster. We know this. I mean, he's right throwing a no-hitter this season, and the A's don't exactly scare me with the starting pitching department. I mean, the A's have an okay bullpen. Well, who started for the A's today? Was it Jesus Luzardo?
Mm-hmm.
He has like a 4.5 ERA or something. He doesn't exactly
actually
on the mound.
According to ESPN, right now he has an 8.10 ERA, so that's pretty rough.
That's a big yikes. What happened to Minaya? What happened to anybody? Fires. Where are they at? Did I miss something? Why are they not pitching?
I don't know. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I mean,
all right, whatever.
I feel really bad because we're doing a podcast. I feel like we should know these things, but it's just since Matt Chapman became injured, since he went, on the IL, I just kind of just stopped watching the Athletics because although I do think Matt Olson is a very entertaining player, although Matt Olson went 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts today, the only person that did anything productive was, they had Laureano, didn't even get a hit, but he drove in an RBI. And then you only have 3 hits from Lamb, Murphy, and La Stella. I mean, the Athletics were just dead. They looked lifeless, completely
I'm
lifeless.
going through Twitter in the background, and I'm watching the video of like Higashioka throw the ball in the center field over and over and over and over and over again. And I'm like,
We'll get to that. Save that story for later, okay? All right, so we pretty much said our piece with the White Sox and athletics.
yeah,
Not the most exciting game.
Were decided early, then there was nothing. Like they were done. Like you knew as soon as the Rays took a lead on the Jays, you're like, oh yeah, that game's over.
Which we'll go ahead and go into that game. We'll talk about the Rays and the Jays.
Yeah.
Again, not a lot of offense, just 3-1.
I mean, we've pretty much discussed the entire game at this point.
4 hits for the Blue Jays, including an RBI from Bassett, where he didn't even get a single hit in the game.
They almost got as many hits as Naquin did, or whoever his name was. Who was the guy from the Indians who got 4 hits today against Gerrit Cole? That guy.
We will talk about that. Hold your tongue. You're jumping conclusions too quickly.
If I got pulled over right now, the officer would be like, "Sir, are you intoxicated right now?"
Okay, so anyways, just to get through this, because John cannot hold himself long enough to talk about these games for even 2 seconds before we jump into the Yankee game. Just in general, it's just another game. It was just like the White Sox and Athletics. It was just I just didn't see any interest in it. It just kind of seemed like in like the first few innings, it just kind of seemed like it was decided. I mean, Blake Snell was pitching incredible. 5.2 innings, only gave up 1 run, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts. I mean, pretty much the Blue Jays couldn't do a damn thing against him. And then, the good thing about the Rays is they have such good pitching that they can win games, 3-1, 2-1, even beat teams 1-0.
Did Blake Snell have?
Blake Snell he had 2 walks in 5.2 innings.
So he was actually vulnerable today, and they still couldn't do anything against it. Look, now this is going to come rich coming from a guy that is a team run by Gary Sanchez, but I mean, Danny Jansen is not exactly an offensive catcher.
Definitely.
Except for when he plays the Yankees, then you guys Mike Piazza.
I got nothing. I got nothing. We were talking about this before we did the podcast. I'm just like, tomorrow, I hope tomorrow is a lot more entertaining. But today was just like, outside of the Yankee game, I just did not get any joy out of the other games. There's nothing was entertainment. There was no drama. Then we go to the Astros and Twins, where there was a little bit of drama. A little bit of drama because Polanco could not throw the ball correctly somehow to second base, which wasn't that difficult of a throw. Any major league
Polanco and do hard, really hard.
Any major league shortstop or infielder for that matter should have made that throw. And because of that throw, I mean, who knows what the Twins would have done, because the Twins offense also looked dead the whole day. But I mean, you could at least try and extend the game to maybe extra innings, or at least give your team a chance. But Polanco was just like, no chance. He basically gave up the game in the 9th. Allowed 3 earned runs at the end of the game. So
the Twins' offense looked horrible, but you have to like your chances against the Houston bullpen. I mean, you have to like your chances there. At some point you might just run into one at that point. I mean, it's bound to happen at some point, especially against that bullpen. But I mean, the only thing I can think of is the fact that I don't know what happened, or maybe Polanco had money on this game. I really don't know, because Polanco really wanted. There was a guy that had a $500,000 bet on the Twins, and he must have been part of that bet, because he's just like, nah, threw the ball away. I'm like, come on, bro, that's an awful time to do it. And it's innocuous. Usually, like 9 out of 10 times, it doesn't really matter. But this time, it mattered. Like Sergio Romo was just like, I'm gonna go full Hindenburg here, and it could have been fine. They could have been down by 1 run, but then the guy that brought it in was just like, nah, let me help you out with that.
Yeah. And
it was a full-scale collapse.
That was basically the only thing I could say that was somewhat entertaining out of all 3 games, was Polanco basically gave up the game and allowed 3 earned runs to come up. And the Twins had bases loaded early in the game. They could have knocked out Greinke early on, and they just did take advantage of it. They just couldn't.
I mean, it's kind of like the way I feel like about, the NBA, where it's like you can cut out 3/4 of the season and no one cares. You only care in the end when you're getting close to the playoffs, and then everybody cares. Like, you could have cut out the first 7 innings of this game, and you would have not missed anything at all. It's been fine.
And then we talk about the game that, John couldn't help himself but try and talk about, even though we couldn't get through 30 decent seconds of talking about any other team.
Did my drink or something? Am I hello?
We're talking about the Yankees and the Indians, which is obviously the most important game. I think was obviously the most exciting game out of all of them. Indians got destroyed. I feel terrible now. A lot of people are probably going to make fun of me after, I amped up Shane Bieber to win MVP. I know postseason completely
Still
different.
winning.
I know postseason is completely different than regular season. Regular season awards, what you do in the postseason doesn't affect you winning regular season awards. But I mean, it was rough out there. Shane Bieber, I mean, he got some.
He did not have a fun day.
I mean, he got some nasty strikeouts here and there, but you could obviously tell, like, especially his fastball. Okay, let me ask you this question, John. When is the last time the Yankees were so productive on fastballs?
Okay.
Especially against a guy as good as Shane Bieber. Like,
I feel like that they came in with a great game plan, which is, hey, this guy's going to throw you a first pitch fastball. And I mean, credit to the Yankees for figuring that out, but also, what are they doing? Like, where is the analytics department from the Cleveland Indians? Like, how do none of their catchers notice this fact? Do you remember, like, there's these games where Cole struggled, and they're like, okay, they're swinging early for the fences on these fastballs. So what they did was they swapped that out, and next thing you know, Gerrit Cole's throwing first pitch sliders to everybody or curveballs, and he got away with it because he's got really good stuff. There was absolutely zero adjustment. Like, the Yankees killed Bieber on these first pitch fastballs, and not to mention the fact his control was awful too. I mean, since when does Bieber walk people? I mean, he usually has great control. He throws Aaron Judge a 93-mile-an-hour meatball down the side of the plate. Like, you can't miss there. Like, that's just not okay, especially after giving up a single to LeMahieu. Like, that first inning, he only gives up 2 runs. It could have been way worse than that. Like, every one of those hits the Yankees got was just dead middle. It could have been way worse. And, they really worked counts on him. They made him work really hard, and they had a great game plan start to finish. It was great. Like, everything worked well for the Yankees tonight.
I mean, it's a good sign. It's a very good. We'll talk about that in just a minute because we talked about that yesterday. But it's a good sign. Like, there's a lot of momentum on the Yankee side, and you just know they're seeing the ball well. When they record a 2-spot and 4 pitches, like, good things are going to come out of that. And it's even better that they did it against Shane Bieber, obviously the best pitcher in the entire league from this year in the regular season. Like, undoubtedly the best pitcher.
Best formula. Now, see, this is what I have against people who are like, oh, it's a tough pitcher, dude. You got to bunt the guy over. You got to do that. No, what you do is you get a guy on base and you hit the ball out. That's what you do. Okay, none of this frilly little bunt the guy over, because if Aaron Judge comes up there and lays on a bunt, then he gets out of this inning potentially. Like, we're not giving up outs. Like, maybe later on in the game, if you're desperate, like, maybe you do that stuff, but like, that's the Yankee formula for success. Leonard gets on, Judge hits one into the stratosphere. That's it. It's worked for years. Don't mess with it. It's a great strategy, and it was on full display tonight. Fantastic. I mean, the lineup was seeing the ball very well. I want to give you this very important thing that I noticed during the game. So, do you remember? It's Gleyber Torres. I think it was his RBI single. I think in the 8th inning. I think it was the 8th inning. But he hits the ball back up the middle. It was a 2-1 pitch, and he just takes the ball back up the middle. And the thing I noticed is that he did not take a leg kick. He took a really slight leg kick. Like, it was kind of like the way that Torres used to play. He would swing for the fences, like, he'd have a big leg kick until he get the 2 strikes, and then he would simply just shift his weight and just swing and make contact. That's what he used to do. And I saw it in the playoffs. I saw it tonight, and I was just like, ooh, Glasses Gleyber's figured it out. He knows what works. And I saw that, and that gives me hope that, they're not just swinging for the fences and that they're trying to make contact. And hopefully they saw it today, and it's going to continue because they were very successful with it. They found holes everywhere. And this Cleveland defense didn't exactly play spectacularly, let's be honest here. Although, there was some sparkler plays, but man.
The thing that I will definitely say about that is obviously Gleyber Torres looked amazing. I mean, you look at his numbers, 4 for 4 with 3 RBIs and 1 walk. I mean, perfect across the board. You cannot ask much better than that. Gleyber just looked fantastic. Obviously, DJ just hits. DJ got 2 hits with 1 RBI. Aaron Judge, the 2-run homer in the first inning. You had Luke Voigt, get 2 hits and RBI. Luke Voigt came up big. Giancarlo Stanton came up with a home run late in the game, which looks good. Gio Urshela came out with a sac fly. And then you have the one I wanted to save the last for, because we obviously talked about this yesterday, and you made the right call. Like I said, I was like, obviously, I think Frazier's the better hitter, but if they put Gardner out there for defensive issues and maybe also because of the fact that Gardner has significantly more experience in the postseason, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. And you literally were right. You hit the nail in the coffin. I mean, Brett Gardner, 3 for 5 with 3 RBIs, incredible, and including a home run in the mix. I mean, I can't complain about that. Just the entire lineup. Like, the entire lineup looked amazing. Like, a lot of people are, like, complaining about, oh, Stan hit a home run in garbage time. Well, that momentum can push him forward into the next game. Who knows if Stanton might have a better game tomorrow. Or actually today, technically, because the podcast is going up today. But, like, I don't know. Like, every single Yankee, except for Tyler Wade, which, to be fair, substituted for defense, every single Yankee got at least one hit. I mean, they were all seeing the ball well, and it just makes me, except Aaron Hicks. But the thing is, Aaron Hicks gets a free pass. Do you know why? Because Aaron Hicks worked out 2 really good counts and ended up recording walks from both of them. So he gets a free pass because all Hicks does is walk. But even though
2 walks today, and both were straight.
So, I mean, even though he didn't get a hit, he still got on base. A walk is just as valuable as a single is. If there's nobody on base, nobody is running,
Run, you're doing great.
Yeah, like if there's no runners in scoring position, DJ LeMahieu hitting a single is the same as Aaron Hicks working a walk. There's no difference. They're both valuable. Right. But then we talk about, arguably, I think the most important aspect of this game, and that is Gerrit Cole.
Oh.
The man that half of Yankee Nation completely destroyed. We're calling him a bum. We're calling him trash during the month of August, saying that he doesn't deserve his contract. He's worthless. And you know what? Cole comes out and says, "I'm going to prove you wrong." Comes out 7 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 13 strikeouts, 105 pitches. Gerrit Cole literally gave the middle finger, gave the bird to everybody, to all those Yankee fans that were completely arrogant about their statement. And what's funny now is there are countless people that I saw their tweets back then, and they've deleted them now, but there were countless people that tweeted, "Oh, Gerrit Cole sucks. He's not worth his contract." And then I see those exact same people saying, "Oh my God, he's my ace." And it's like, you're such a hypocrite. Like, it's kind of like one of my favorite Twitter accounts. His name is he used to be the Greg Bird Resurgence bandwagon, but now he's Gary Sanchez. And he always is like, if you're going to crap on Gary Sanchez right now, you don't deserve to cheer him on when he's at his best. And that's kind of how I feel. I'm like, for you people that crapped on Gerrit Cole and you didn't have any faith in him, considering how well he's pitched now, especially like his last 3 starts in the regular season, and the fact that he is just so ridiculously consistent and great in the postseason and has already broken records for as young as he is. He still has plenty of time under his belt. Obviously, that's why the Yankees signed him to such a long-term deal, such a high-dollar contract, because they want this guy to stick around. They know he can get the job done. He's a winner. I don't think – I mean, it might be a little biased, but even when Gerrit Cole was on the Astros, I didn't see a single player in the entire league that wanted to win as much as that guy did. And I still see it with him in a Yankee uniform, and that's what makes me so excited. So the point is, people, just shut your mouth. Like, seriously. You don't know what this guy is capable of. And he literally shut everybody down. 7 innings, 13 Ks. I can't. I just can't. I can't.
I will be fair. He pitched tremendously. However, it's unfortunate that the Cleveland Indians decided to play a T-ball team tonight instead of a real MLB lineup. But that's besides the point. Except for, J. Ram and, the guy whose name I can't remember from left field who made a tremendous catch, by the way, in the 9th.
Josh Naylor, he had a tremendous catch, and he also went 4 for 4. I mean, he carried the Indians on his back, literally.
So, I mean, the thing that I like about Cole is the fact that he may not be the greatest regular season pitcher, but I feel like that Gerrit Cole, if I'm going to make an apt comparison, it's either going to be Tanaka, or if you want an even better comparison, it's kind of like how Peyton Manning cannot, win in the playoffs really that well, but, his regular season numbers are, amazing. It's kind of like that he's the best regular season quarterback of all time. It's like Gerrit Cole, in the playoffs, when the heat is on, that he's going to rise to the occasion. He does not care. And he feeds off of the energy, and that, if they get a hit off of him, it's just going to make him angry, and he's just going to pitch even harder. And you're going to get a good, You know you're gonna get a good game out of him. Help me. I'm struggling here. I'm suffering.
And Gerrit Cole, I mean, his fastball was just near perfect. He's painting the edges, painting the corners, and then he was making hitters chase left and right on his breaking pitches. I mean, he just looked so good. He looked excellent. That is the guy. That is the reason why the Yankees signed him, because they knew that he could do that. He proved that in Houston, and now he's starting to prove it now. And I have so much faith in the guy. It's incredible how much faith I have.
Tomorrow, and we get to watch Masahiro Tanaka with a 176 playoff ERA come and potentially play against one of my favorite pitchers who's not a Yankee, Carlos Carrasco.
Which big props to Carlos for beating cancer a while back. That's just amazing. And then coming back and just
kick the crap out of cancer, and he did it.
I mean, he not only did he kick the shit out of cancer, but he came back strong, and he's a very reliable pitcher for the Indians. He's a very good pitcher.
For COVID, despite the fact of all the health risks, and he has been like, nope, I'm putting my team first, and I have to respect that. Tremendous individual.
Yeah, honestly, like I never really thought about that. You really can't help but like Carlos Carrasco. Like you really can't. Like there's nothing negative you could say about the guy. He's just awesome. I can't say anything bad about him. So.
Oh, the only thing that I will say, this is not about Carlos Carrasco, but it's about Giancarlo. You know what I mean? I love the guy. He's a tremendous player and all that thing. I love the fact he has the ability to break a game open at any possible time. Can it kill him to show up at any point with less than like a 10-run lead? Like, please, like it'd be nice. I don't know what it is about this guy and his ability to hit home runs in games that have already been decided, but like it seems to only happen. So like I've been there for a couple of his home runs, and it's like. So I'll point to 3 home runs that I can remember. The first one was tonight, where the game's already way out of reach, and he's just like, got it. Added that extra insurance run, that'll help. The other one was the wild card game last year against the Athletics. When was it last year? No, it was the year before. I think it was 18. Yeah, it was 18 against the Athletics. When I think we're already up 7-2, and he decided to hit one about 7 miles into the stratosphere off of Trinan into the left field seats. That's the one where Chapman is like does the face in the bullpen, and then the other one was against the Blue Jays when we were playing, and Judge hits like a colossal 2-run home run. That's the one where the kid was like in a stand sign that says
yeah.
And Judge hits one out, and then Giancarlo's like, man, that looked like a lot of fun. I want to do that too. But the game was already decided at that point because no one had any more pitchers. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, and I'm not trying to trash the guy. I'm trying to be like semi-funny, but also at the same time be like, I noticed this trend where if you need him to hit a home run off of a good pitcher, sometimes you just can't do it. But I mean, like, if you look at his postseason numbers, and I know he doesn't have a lot of them, he actually doesn't have bad postseason numbers. I think maybe my friend looked it up. I think his postseason record's like he's batting like 240 in the postseason, which realistically is not that bad. Like that's pretty good. Like I'll take that. I'm gonna go look it up real quick.
I was getting some really good vibes whenever you mentioned that mammoth home run that Judge hit. I want to say that was one of the series in Toronto with the kid who had the sign. Yeah. That was the coolest thing in the world. He actually, gifted that kid a home run. That was awesome. I love that.
That picture is still on the sidebar of the Yankees subreddit.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, but they photoshopped the Houston Asterisks picture on the sign, so he's pulling it up.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I wonder if he knows that he's a part of something great, a great movement moving forward.
Oh, we love it. I just want to look up Giancarlo's postseason batting. So Giancarlo in the postseason in 3 years, 5 series, is batting .231, .311 on base percentage. He has 3 home runs. He has 9 hits, and 3 of them are home runs. Mm-hmm. He has 9 hits in 39 at bats, which I mean, he stole a base.
Mm-hmm.
5 walks.
Seriously, he stole a base. Really?
He stole a base.
Interesting.
I know.
Props to him.
I bet that Mike Trout guy had never stolen a base in the playoffs.
I wonder why. I don't think I have to talk about that. I don't think I should go on that tangent because it just makes me mad every time I think about it.
Yeah, they fired their GM today.
Yeah, I noticed that. Hopefully they actually figure out that starting pitching in the bullpen is a viable option in terms of winning baseball games. And not only winning baseball games, but winning postseason games if you can even get there in the first place. So,
who's better? Giancarlo's hitting .231 in the postseason, has a stolen base, versus this Mike Trout guy who's hitting .83 no stolen bases, got caught stealing.
It's gotta be Mike Trout. I don't care.
No.
I'm going Mike Trout. I don't care. Mike Trout's the greatest. I don't care. Just let him actually make the playoffs where the Angels don't just go to the wild card. Let them actually advance far into the postseason and actually see how good Trout is. I guarantee you a change.
He has one hit, and it was a home run.
That's Mike Trout. Mike Trout air horn. Cue the air horn from Cut 4. That's right. Basically what it is.
Mike Trout is the all or nothing hitter we all deserve.
But I think the last thing that we should talk about, so we can go ahead and wrap this up. I know we didn't really have like a terrible a bunch of stuff to talk about because the games outside of the Yankees weren't the most the most dramatic experiences I've ever seen. But I'm just gonna go through each game that's gonna happen today, technically, because the podcast can be uploaded before any of these games occur on Wednesday. I thought it was Thursday for some reason. I've completely lost track of my days now, but I'm going to go through these and you tell me which one, what's going to happen, what your predictions are, just kind of like quickly. You don't have to go into like a MLA formatted, paragraph essay or document about each series. Don't do it. I'm telling you right now, don't do it. Just do it really quickly. So first off, the first game, and I think it's probably going to be the most interesting game to me personally because I love pitching, is the Reds and Braves. You got Trevor Bauer versus Max Fried. Who's winning that game?
I'm going to go with the Reds.
You going to go with the Reds? Alrighty.
I will take the Reds. I stand by my prediction. I think the Reds take this series. And that's basically because the Braves are essentially pitching Max Fried coming off an injury, also pitching after that like TBD and TBD, pretty much. Like I don't know who their other pitchers are. What, like Luke Jackson maybe? I have no idea. I don't think they get through the three-headed monster of Bauer, Gray, and Castillo. I mean, Castillo's kind of vulnerable, but like those first two, they're pretty good.
I mean, those three in general is like that's tough. That's tough to go against. In a 3-game series, that's tough. That's very tough. That's not easy.
They're more vulnerable in a 5-game series, but like in a 3-game series, that's tough.
That's almost a lockdown.
2 out of 3 of those really solid pitchers who all have nasty stuff, and none of them really give you any easy looks. I mean, Castillo throws 98 miles an hour from the side with like one of the craziest changeups I've ever seen. Like, I don't know how anybody gets a hit off of this guy. Bauer is, Bauer. He throws 99 miles an hour and has a wicked curveball. And you've got Sonny Gray, who basically just has all these crazy breaking fastballs, and he has the highest spin rate on the team, pretty much.
All right, so moving forward, I pretty much agree with you. You hit all the nails in the coffin. You have the Astros and the Twins.
The only thing is
the Astros have not decided who is pitching, but the Twins are pitching Jose Barrios. So,
okay, I have a stupid question. Who pitched game 1 for the Twins? Was it Kenta Maeda?
Kenta Maeda, yeah.
Okay.
So, who would you go with for that one? I mean, obviously the Astros haven't decided who they're pitching, but I want to lean towards the Twins. I really want to. I feel like they're not going to let that happen again.
I would actually be afraid. I don't know why the Astros are doing this right now, but I think they should just pitch Lance McCullers and just say, okay, get out there and win us the series right now. Because I really, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a Twins fan right now, but I really don't like the fact that they didn't show up in game 1. I mean, that was a dreadful showing. I mean, versus a team this year that's basically been playing for their lives for the last 2 weeks. Like, they don't have a pitching staff. If the Twins win tomorrow, they win the series. But there's a real chance that they throw Lance McCullers Jr. out there, and this guy throws like an 8-inning game, and they just get smothered. Like, it's a real possibility. Like, they needed to win this game today, and they didn't. Like, I'm sorry, it's what happens in a 3-game series. You make one mistake, and next thing you know, you're facing elimination, and it's happening. I don't know who their other TBD pitcher could possibly be, but how do you not pitch McCullers tomorrow?
Very, very important. It's just like you said, you just want to win this game and get it over with because you don't want to push this to a game 3 because you're going to be biting your nails.
That's like the Yankee fans who are like, man, you know what? we'll pitch J-Hap tomorrow, and we'll leave Tanaka on like 10 days rest so we can pitch game 1 of the ALCS. And I'm just like, are you nuts?
That's a terrible idea. You want to take the series as quick as possible. Don't give the other team any momentum or any hope of winning the series. That's ridiculous. That's a really dumb take. I really hope that wasn't a significant amount of people who were saying that. I never saw it, but you can be the guest of honor and tell us if that was a significant chunk of people, because I certainly hope not.
I think the biggest comment I saw from today was all the people who were just like, oh, Brett Gardner in left field. I don't want to talk about Brett Gardner in left field. I'm like, there's a bunch of really legitimate and good reasons for that, but I didn't really see any of the other stuff. Like, people really kept it. Because obviously, I mean, like, you can get into the analytics of it, but, like, I don't see any reason not to pitch Tanaka game 2. Like, it doesn't make any sense. First off, I mean, I like J-Hap. He had a great season, but realistically, I want to go with the guy who has, like, actually played in the playoffs and played solidly in the playoffs. Like, I don't know what J-Hap's, like, postseason record is. I'm going to go look it up right now because, I mean, did he ever play in the playoffs for Pittsburgh or the Blue Jays? I don't remember. He must have pitched in the playoffs for the Blue Jays back in 2015? I'm going to go with this up. I don't know.
You're making me want to look it up now because I actually don't even know.
Postseason pitching, 08, he pitched in the playoffs. Oh, that's right. He played in the Phillies when they lost to the Yankees in the World Series. Pitched with 3.38 ERA, 2 games, 2.2 innings pitched. He came in out of the bullpen.
2018, a 22.50 ERA in 2 innings. Yikes. That's terrible. That's rough. Even though it's a small sample size, that's rough.
I mean, it's not like his numbers are really that shocking, but it's just like I would much rather take Tanaka is 12th overall in terms of lowest postseason ERA, minimum 40 innings pitched. Like he is one of the best people to do it. Like we talked about earlier with the way the people who elevate their game for the postseason. You've got people who elevate their game for the postseason, like Gerrit Cole and Masahiro Tanaka. So why would you ever push him to game 3 and play for game 3? No, play for game 2 and end this now. Stop this. Don't give them a chance. Don't give them an inch, because in baseball, if you give them an inch, they'll knock your door down.
Yeah, don't be cute with it. Just win the game.
Just win the game.
Just
don't overthink this.
Go into use whatever formula is helping you win. Just point blank, period.
Win the game tomorrow, and you know what happens? If you don't win tomorrow, then that means you've got 3 pitchers to choose from the next day. You've got J-Hap, you've also got Garcia warming in the bullpen, and you've also got Montgomery in the bullpen if you need long relief. That's the plan, okay? It's not rocket science. Just do that.
Okay. Moving on, I think we pretty much already covered the Yankee game, the Yankee-Indians game. The next one is the Marlins and Cubs. You got Sandy versus Kyle Hendricks. How do you think that's going to turn out to be? I honestly think the Marlins. I feel like the Marlins are going to be more pesky than Cubs fans and the Cubs realize in general, because they actually have a very solid rotation, and their starting core is really solid too. I mean, obviously the Marlins are going to have to go out and face Hendricks and then Darvish, which is tough. But I mean, I think the Marlins are a pretty scrappy team. The thing that worries me, and this is what would worry me if I was a Cubs fan, and I actually talked to somebody about this earlier tonight, who's a Cubs fan, and I'm sitting there like, you gotta have Baez going, you gotta have Rizzo going, and you gotta have Bryant going, because in terms of what they did in the regular season, they were all pretty much below average hitters in the league. So if they're not
below average,
if all 3 of them, I mean, obviously it's better to have like 1 going than none, or 2, obviously, or it's more than ideal if all 3 players are heating up in the postseason. But if you don't have a reliable Baez, you don't have a reliable Bryant, and you don't have a reliable Rizzo, I just feel like even as good as a guy like Ian Happ is, there's no chance he's going to carry that team. And I think a scrappy little team like the Marlins can somehow shock baseball world and somehow push past the Cubs. I mean, I've seen weirder things happen.
I mean, this goes back to what I was just talking about. Why are they pitching Kyle Hendricks in game 1 and not Yu Darvish? Why? Are they getting cute with it? So the Marlins, I'm gonna steal this one from David Cohn, and I'm gonna say that the Marlins don't have a lot of pitchers, but they have a lot of throwers. I feel like they have a lot of raw talent, but they don't have anybody that really stacks up in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like they have no postseason experience, whereas the Cubs have been to the postseason. They understand what's at stake here. I feel like that the postseason's a great thing because, like we've been saying all season long, Gary Sanchez can have whatever year he wants to have. If he goes off in the postseason, no one's going to remember that Gary Sanchez hit 147 this year. They're going to remember the fact that Gary Sanchez hit a heroic home run in the postseason to take us to the next series. No one's going to care. So if Bryant, Rizzo, and what was the third one, Schwarber?
If they are you talking about the ones that I mentioned?
Yeah, who was the other one?
Baez, Rizzo, and Bryant.
Yeah, that's right. Madden Curse hit him really early this year. So, like, if they go off in the postseason, no one's going to care what kind of regular season they have, and that's what's the beauty of this. The fact that if any of them go off, like, and they win this series, no one's going to care because they're here, and I think they've got a solid team going forward. But Kyle Hendricks freaks me out. Like, I'm sorry, when you've got a guy who throws an 89-mile-an-hour fastball, that freaks me out because there's no room for error. So Kyle Hendricks has to be perfect against a team of people who are all free swingers, and they can do damage. They know that no one's giving them credit, so they know they're going to go out there and try to overachieve like they did against the Yankees. Like they're like the Rays. They take pride in beating up on big teams.
And the Marlins, like I said, are a little scrappy team. They're old school too. They like to do a lot of hit and runs. They like to bunt. They like to steal a lot of bases. They've got really quick. They've got some people that have really quick, sprint speed. I mean they're pretty old school.
When you've got a team that doesn't hit for a high average, you basically have to win because essentially, you have to pray your starting pitching does that, and then you have to steal runs. Essentially, it's kind of like, Billy Beane. You got to steal runs.
Moving forward, we got the White Sox and the Athletics. You have Dallas Keuchel.
Craig Kimbrell on the postseason roster for the Cubs.
Who?
Craig Kimbrell.
He should be. There's no reason he shouldn't be. He actually was pitching very, very well as of lately.
I look forward to him blowing a game.
And then the whole entire Cubs nation is going to, be out with their pitchforks and their fire and about to burn him down to the ground.
Who's the guy who the Cubs fans blame for the loss in the World Series a couple of years back? The fan that Craig Kimbrell is going to be the new one of that guy.
Oh man, that's opening a whole nother can of worms. You do realize that, right? Those are some bad memories for some people. I'm just going to say that right now.
Look, they won a World Series in the recent memories. Trust me. Like I said, if you're in the sense that those guys going off will erase the past, the Cubs win that World Series, erase the past. It's like the Red Sox. We don't talk about the curse of the Bambino anymore because they won a couple of World Series. No one cares anymore. You know what I mean? It erases the past. Everything's all good. It's fine. And then they fired everybody.
All right, so moving on, we got the White Sox and Athletics. You have Dallas Kykel versus Chris Bassett. So, I mean, I'm going with the White Sox. I mean, I like Dallas Kykel has been very good. He's been one of the best pitchers in B-War. Obviously, he's a ground ball machine, just like a guy like Zach Britton is. I also, like I said, Matt Chapman. Without Matt Chapman, that hurts the Athletics offense more than people realize. And I know one guy can't carry an entire team because that's not how baseball works. But when you have a good, solid hitter, solid slugger, and a phenomenal defender in Matt Chapman, who rarely makes any errors, on the field or, at the hot corner or so, whatever you want to call it, that's a huge blow to the Athletics. And just point blank and simple, when I look at the Athletics offense and then when I look at the White Sox offense, it's pretty clear as day that I obviously am going to pick the offense, that the White Sox have over the Athletics, especially when you have, MVP caliber players, both Tim Anderson. I know Tim Anderson is not going to win MVP.
Okay, wait a second.
He's definitely been one of the better players in the AL. He's not going to win AL. He's not going to win MVP, but I'm saying that he was up there at one point. He had a potential, then he kind of fell off a little bit. But Tim Anderson is a very good hitter, and then you have an MVP caliber player in Jose Abreu who has a potential of winning MVP. So you and there's so much raw and young talent. You got Jimenez. You have Yoan Moncada, which is one of my favorite personal players to watch. I love Moncada. He's insane. You also have a very good, solid catcher in Yasmani Grandal. I know he hasn't had the best numbers in the postseason, but he's still a guy that I would rather have over the majority of catchers in the league. So, I mean, I don't know. I just look at the White Sox lineup. I think the offense is a lot better. And then I look at the pitching, and I'm just like, I don't know. Dallas Keuchel has pitched very well this season. He one of the best pitchers in B-War this season. I don't know. I'm taking the White Sox. What's your take?
I think the A's are dead right now. I mean, like the A's are out here. We're like, oh, bullpen. It's gonna be great. You know, we got Kirby Yates. Do you know what I think they know? I think the A's should do is I think that they should go out, not Kirby Yates. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of
Liam
the other
Hendricks.
guy, Liam Hendricks. Yeah, I think that the A's should absolutely go with an opener tomorrow because I really don't genuinely think that Bassett is really all about that right now. I feel like that they tried against the Yankees, it blew up in their face, but like they gotta try something to get this guy in this game because like it's like an Ubaldo Jimenez situation. It's like, oh, we've got our best pitcher. Oh, but he's in the bullpen. Oh, we lost the game. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you have an opportunity to put these guys out there to win the game for you. It's all hands on deck now. It's an elimination game. You got to win this game. You got to put up zeros against the White Sox tomorrow. That's no small feat. You got to figure something out. I don't think this Chris Bassett guy is going to be able to do this. I mean, it sounds like the guy should be going to do some Bass Pro Fishing instead of playing a baseball game right now. Like it sounds like where he's going to be in a couple weeks.
What a comparison! That is such a comparison. Wow.
It sounds like a guy who's on the fishing channel.
All right, so moving forward, before we start talking about fishing, makes me want to go to sleep. Let's talk about the Blue Jays and Rays. I mean, this is
Blue Jays dead.
You got Hinshin Ryu, and then you got Tyler Glasnow, and it's like you're going against Tyler Glasnow. You only scored 1 run the game previously. I think the Blue Jays are getting the athletic syndrome, and I think they're just completely dead in the water.
There are 2 teams that can beat the Rays in the American League. Unfortunately, the Blue Jays are not one of them.
Yankees and Twins, let me guess.
Well, I was going to say the White Sox.
Yankees and White Sox.
That's really all I'm giving you. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody else can beat the Rays, especially the Blue Jays. Look, they're a feisty team. You know they can go off, but it seems like that when the Blue Jays play away, it get absolutely dumpstered every time against a very tough pitcher. You know, Glasnow is pretty good when he's not tipping pitches, as it turns out. You know, against the Astros, he was tipping pitches like crazy. But, like, I think Glasnow has figured it out. He looks unstoppable. Not only that, Glasnow only needs to go 5 innings because the Rays can just run that bullpen out, and it's fine. Like, they had no answers for that bullpen today. Like you said, Snell went 5 2/3 innings, and then they still didn't do anything against the bullpen. They had 3 1/3 innings to do something, and they just completely drew a complete blank. I mean, to quote Kevin Cash, they've got a whole bunch of people in that stable.
Yeah, I mean, he's not kidding. As cringy as it might sound, he's not kidding. That bullpen is one of the best in the league, and the starting pitching also is one of the best in the league. The pitching stuff the Rays possess is just terrifying. It's straight up scary.
Let's just go off in a magical world of possibilities. Let's say that by the grace of God, like, lightning strikes and the Blue Jays happen to win in some crazy fashion, and like they win. Oh, fantastic. Oh, who are we pitching tomorrow? Oh, Charlie Morton? Okay, sure. Fine. Good luck with that. Like,
the odds are just not in the Blue Jays' favors.
You're not winning game 3.
All right, so moving on. I think we got that point across. This lineup is definitely going to be interesting. You have the Cardinals and Padres. You have Kim versus Paddock, and you know, I've already talked to several of my family members because you know my family are big, massive Cardinals fans, and I'm gonna be honest with you. Hopefully I don't get exposed on old takes or whatever now, but the Cardinals lineup compared and stacking up to the Padres lineup, both pitching and offensively, the Cardinals just don't intimidate me. They really don't. They just don't. I feel like the Padres are gonna win the first 2 games and boot the Cardinals out of the series. I mean, the Padres are a very intimidating team, especially that offense. I don't have to tell you, Tatis Jr. and Manny Machado are both MVP candidates. Obviously, I think Freeman deserves MVP for NL, but Tatis and Machado both had MVP caliber seasons, and that's just those 2 guys alone. That's not counting the rest of the offensive firepower that they have. They're called Slam Diego for a reason. I mean, this team just bombs out grand slams and home runs left and right. They score a ton of runs. They're a very good offensive team. And it's just, I don't know. The Cardinals just don't intimidate me. The only thing that I like that's going for the Cardinals is Jack Flaherty. That is about it, other than maybe Paul Goldschmidt, because Paul Goldschmidt had a very quiet yet very productive 2020 season, and a lot of people just didn't pay attention to him. I know Paul DeJong apparently do some things. You have Colton Wong occasionally can do some things. Yadier Molina, every now and then. But it's just like, I'm just not intimidated by the Cardinals offense compared to the Padres offense. And I don't even really think that's debatable. You know what I mean?
So I'm looking through the games right now. I mean, look, I'm going to be real with you. I feel like the Padres win this series easily going away, but it is not going to be an easy road for the Padres at this point. I mean, they've lost 2 of their starters that they plan on having, and I mean, like, yeah, they probably beat the Cardinals. They probably beat the Cardinals in this round. I mean, for some reason they're using an opener tomorrow with Jack Flaherty. I think, like, I don't understand why, but sure, fine, whatever. If it works, then fine, do it. But I don't believe in the opener strategy for like when you've got a borderline starting pitcher. I don't believe in that. That'd be like using an opener for Gerrit Cole. You don't do that. Jack Flaherty's an ace. You know, you don't use it. You don't need an opener for him. But I don't see I see the Padres really struggling in the next series because I feel like it's going to be tough to just deal with Paddock, who has had a really rough year this year. I mean, he did not look like the Paddock of last year. He really looks like he's had some struggles this year. I mean, I really don't believe in them in the next series, but I think they're going to win against the Cardinals this year. I mean, really, the Cardinals don't have anybody. I mean, what, like, you know, Paul Goldschmidt, like, that's all they got, really, right? I mean, I don't know anybody else. I mean, Yadier Molina is like just, you know, having a farewell tour at this point.
And then the last game, I think this is also one of those series where it's just kind of obvious, I think, who's going to win. But we talk about the Brewers and the Dodgers. You have Brent Sutter going against Walker Buehler. So it's just like...
Brent Suter.
Yeah, Suter. Don't remind me. Don't remind me. I'm super, super tired right now. I'm going to pronounce people's names wrong, and then they're going to come back and haunt me, you know, years and years later when they say, do you remember how you pronounce his last name? Oh, yeah, you completely butchered my last name, man.
Have you seen my YouTube comments? My YouTube comment section makes fun of me all the time for mispronouncing people's names. And I talk about people for like 3 seconds. That's besides the point.
I mean, I literally didn't watch the Brewers for maybe more than like 2 games, and those 2 games were only for Christian Yelich. That's pretty much it. That's it. Like, seriously.
I'll give you the rundown. Christian Yelich, not great. Brandon Woodruff throws hard. Williams
is incredible. He's amazing.
Unfortunately, though, Williams can't pitch 9 innings.
No, he cannot.
Yeah, he can only pitch a couple. But, I mean, I think you and I both know the answer. So we can sum up in one word. What team is winning?
It's going to be the Dodgers, and I think I just don't see there's any way that they're going to go to 3 games. The Dodgers are going to win both of those. They're going to win the first game, they're going to win the second game.
Starting game 1, probably Kershaw. Who's starting game 2? Do you give the ball to Dustin May, maybe? I mean...
Are you talking about game 2?
Talking about game 2 of the Dodgers.
No, they have... Buehler is for game 1, and then Kershaw's for game 2. Yeah.
Really?
So they're going out with Buehler, which is, I mean, Buehler is an ace too. Don't get me wrong. I think Kershaw's obviously the better pitcher, but I mean, Buehler is also an ace as well. So,
what ballpark are they playing in? Dodger Stadium, right?
Yeah, definitely. That's another thing. I'm just like, I don't like the Brewers' chances. I just don't.
That's fine. I'm sure it doesn't matter. They're going to win in 2 games either way. It doesn't matter.
And that's kind of very interesting that you talked about. You think the Padres are going to struggle because I think the most anticipated series, and I think a lot of people want to see it, is they want to see the Padres advance, and then they want to see the Dodgers advance, so the Padres and Dodgers can play in the NLDS, which is what I want to see.
I feel like that's a great shame because I feel like that would be a perfect CS matchup. However, I just feel like that, you know, despite the fact that the Padres have a great offense, I feel like that you're just going to struggle against that pitching staff. Like the Dodgers themselves, if you're going to tell me the Dodgers and the Padres have equal offense, I would tell you the Dodgers easily outclass the Padres right now in pitching staff. Therefore, the Dodgers are winning that series running away.
I mean, the Dodgers bullpen has been untouchable for most of the year. The bullpen's been very good. The starting pitching, obviously, very good.
Great. The Dodgers have run away with that league.
There's really not any negatives to look at if you're analyzing the Dodgers. There's really nothing to pinpoint.
We've seen in years.
And that's scary. That's a scary thought that the Dodgers just every single year they just continue to get better and better.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it's just like you would think it would only be a matter of time before they win a World Series eventually with how many good teams they have. Ooh, if he didn't opt out of the season
Maybe
because
they're
of
not out of the season. Can
COVID,
you imagine if they had David Price right now? That team is easily winning the World Series.
yeah, that's a really, really good team.
That is if he shows up and doesn't play Fortnite, but still, that's besides.
That is if the Yankees don't play him and he faces Gary Sanchez.
I need a hot take from you if you want to close this out really quickly. So
Yeah, let's
there's
go ahead. Let's do this.
some news dropped today about a pitcher's availability for the next round.
Mm-hmm. And
Did
who
you
is
hear
that pitcher? I don't think I did hear about this. This is going to be fresh news to me.
There's a pitcher who is potentially going to come off the IL for the next series.
For the Yankees?
Yes. Let me make sure I get this right. It's a certain how am I pronounce this right? A James.
I know. I have a hoodie of him. It's James Paxton. It's James Paxton.
James Paxton. Maybe I don't know if I'm, but apparently he won't be starting. But maybe they'll give him a bullpen role. You never know. I mean, I don't think he's going to be that effective, but I mean, potentially he could be a long relief pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't believe in him at this point because I'm terrified of bringing pitchers in cold off of the injured list. But if they need the warm bodies, then fine, do it. I'd rather him than Nick Nelson. Let me be real. I'm just saying, I'll take a flyer on Paxton over Nelson.
I'm not going to disagree with that statement at all because obviously I have a James Paxton hoodie and I have a lot of faith and trust in the guy, and I always have had. I know his not his exit velocity, his velocity, his pitch velocity was definitely down this year, especially with his fastball. But I don't know. I still have a lot of faith in him. If he can get that pitch velocity back up, and then he's got the knuckle curves working, he's got the breaking pitches working, he's a very tough pitcher to hit. I mean, those knuckle curves are just disgusting. It's one of my favorite pitchers in the league. The knuckle curve is actually pretty much why he's one of my favorite players in the entire league and why I have a hoodie of his, a Yankee hoodie of his. A lot of people think that's weird. It's like, I was watching Paxton when he was killing it with the Mariners before most Yankees fans even, acknowledged his existence before he came to the Yankees with the package deal. You know what I mean? I've been watching him forever, and I know the potential that he has. All the way back when he was playing with the Mariners, and he had that no hitter against the Blue Jays. I mean, he has a lot of potential. People don't realize that.
He's getting no hit recently. I feel like it's just been a cascade of hilarity. Like the Blue Jays love to get no hit for some reason. I don't know why.
They got no hit last year by Justin Verlander too.
Verlander and then Paxton the year before.
So it's just.
They managed to avoid it this year.
Watch because you say that somehow there's like a no hitter in the postseason
tomorrow.
That would be insanity. That would be the biggest jinx of all time if that happened. And I would never let that go from you. I would never let it go. I'd remind you 50 years down the road. I really would. But that's definitely a good closing statement to go out on. I lied, folks. This podcast went longer than I thought it would. So don't listen to me and don't listen to Jad if we tell you these things because we'll probably end up talking more than we think there are.
I didn't say anything of the sort. In fact, I called the BS.
I'm just saying for future reference, okay? Just for future reference. Just don't listen to you and just don't listen to me. Just
listen to me, especially when I talk to you. Listen to me, especially when I tell you playing Brett Gardner and left is the right way.
I mean, you're right. You're right.
I will not steer you guys wrong, okay? I've been watching this team forever.
Alrighty, well, that's about it. Hope all of you guys enjoyed the podcast. Hopefully the Yankees can take the series and move on to the, the ALDS, where obviously I think it's obviously going to be the Rays that they face. And
I have one more question for you before we go.
Yes.
And I need a 10-word or less answer.
Okay.
Who's catching tomorrow?
It's got to be Gary Sanchez.
Does it have to be Gary Sanchez?
Give me Gary Sanchez. Come on. Give me Gary Sanchez. Point blank. Give me Gary Sanchez. That's all there is to it. Don't give me Higashioka. You already had Higashioka out there with Cole. Definitely don't give me Kratz. Give me Gary Sanchez. Point blank. So.
Okay. We'll see.
Alrighty.
It's not like I don't believe in Gary, but we'll see.
Alrighty.
I could go either way. It's fine.
Alrighty. Well, that's about it with the podcast. Hope you guys enjoy the game. Hopefully, like I said before, hopefully the Yankees can win the game. We don't have to worry about a Game 3 nail-biter with whoever they decide to pitch. And the Yankees can go ahead and advance and have a few off days before they take on the Rays, because I think it's probably pretty obvious the Blue Jays are not making it past the Rays. I mean, I've seen weirder things, but I just don't see it happening. But other than
Me
that,
neither.
hope you guys enjoy enjoy your day and your night in general. Don't just watch Yankee baseball, but enjoy the entire day. There's going to be postseason baseball from 11 a.m. Central Time to past 11 p.m. Central Time because of the Dodgers games so late. So there's going to be baseball all day. Enjoy
That's
yourselves.
the only good thing about this playoff structure is there's a lot of games going.
It's very exciting. That's
If
a
you
good
like
thing.
baseball, you're multi-boxing your streams.
Alrighty. Well, I hope you guys enjoy the podcast, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day and your night. And we will see you guys tomorrow for another podcast.